All right, we've got some material for a 49ers update on this Tuesday afternoon. Sometimes I lose track of the days in the offseason, especially this part of the offseason. Julian Blackmon, the safety who had visited the 49ers a couple weeks ago, has re-signed with his former team, the Indianapolis Colts. Terms are not yet available, but it is a one-year deal, according to Jordan Schultz. And the 49ers are presumably still interested in adding a veteran safety. Now, the big name is still out there, and that's Justin Simmons. And the fact that Julian Blackmon, who's actually coming off of a career year, was only able to sign a one-year deal with his former team shows you that the safety market is still suffering. And if the safety market continues to suffer, then perhaps Justin Simmons is going to be out there on a discount for the 49ers, who can use another body at that safety position at the very least for depth. But I think that everybody's thinking the same thing. They could use a star there too, especially with Brandon Staley starting to scheme up some of the plays. Staley, back when he was with the Rams, had a special position called the star. Jalen Ramsey played the star. It was a versatile nickel / DB position. And I mention that because when he was with the Chargers, he had Derwin James, who's technically a safety, play the star. And a lot of the disguise coverages and a lot of the flexibility that both the Rams and the Chargers were able to do defensively with Brandon Staley scheming things up were dependent on what they did in the DB position with that star position. I think Deommodore Lenoir could be a star. I talked about it with Mike Silver on the show yesterday. But if they do bring in a bigger name, if they can get Justin Simmons, then maybe he could play a little bit of that position as well. Either way, I think that the 49ers are set to become more creative on the back end. And the truth of the matter is they just need more depth at safety. Talanoa Hufanga is coming off of a torn ACL. He's rehabbing well, according to John Lynch, but you still have to make contingency plans, and you still need depth. They used three safeties a lot in 2021 when Talanoa Hufanga first broke into the mix for them. So it would make sense for the 49ers to again stock that position, especially since there is a spot technically available. Remember, they have not ruled out bringing Tashaun Gipson Sr. back, but it's not completely clear if Tashaun Gipson Sr., who's going to be 34 years old this season, is going to be willing to play. John Lynch said they've had good dialogue, and he said that it's a year-to-year decision for Tashaun Gipson Sr. The 49ers do not believe that he has slowed down, but it would make sense if he did not want to play another season, given the fact that he's going to be 34. Gibson has 33 career interceptions. Justin Simmons is over 30. Simmons has the most interceptions in the NFL ever since 2018. So he's a true ball hawk down there. And I think through how this goes, we'll find out a lot about how the 49ers view that Brandon Staley addition and how much he's going to be able to put his fingerprints on this roster, because they do have salary cap constraints. They are in a position where they can't spend through the roof, but they do have that open roster spot at the safety position. They do have Talanoa Hufanga coming off of injury, and it is a depressed safety market right now. So if you are able to get a player of Justin Simmons' caliber on a good deal, then you jump on it if you're the 49ers. And I think that's really the calculus right now that they're going through, and we will see if it ends up coming to fruition for them. Mark Caboli, who works for us at The Athletic, reported that former Bengals wide receiver Tyler Boyd, a bigger target, about 6'2", is the 49ers have some interest in him, but he also listed like 4 other teams. Tyler Boyd, he had a couple 1,000-yard seasons in 2018 and 2019. He's 29 years old now, more of a 800-yard guy. I see this as a due diligence thing, the 49ers' interest, just in case they can get Tyler Boyd at a reasonable price, because then you would insulate your receiver room even further. You could make the receiver room better. You do have Chris Conley right now, but Tyler Boyd has been a more established receiver, and he could fit into the back end of that room. So this is not something that I would think is imminent. It's just something that Mark Caboli mentioned in his article on The Athletic. We've got some salary news. Dre Greenlaw, so $2.5 million of his base salary vest into a full guarantee. This happened on April 1st. This was language in the contract that Greenlaw signed back in 2022. I remember there were certain people on the internet that were saying that the 49ers were going to cut Dre Greenlaw. It was laughable at the time, And now you can see it indeed won't be true. They're not going to cut one of the better linebackers in the league, especially when he's got a torn Achilles. There'd be other financial reasons to not cut him at that point. But Dre Greenlaw saw $2.5 million vest into a guarantee. That means he's safely aboard the 49ers roster. And so is their center, Jake Brendel, who saw $3 million, all $3 million of his base salary vest into a guarantee. Deebo Samuel also saw the remainder of his base salary fully guaranteed yesterday. I thought that most of it was already guaranteed last year. I'm just reading some notes right here. This one's from Jason Hurley, who runs the 49ers cap. The previous two, I collected from some of that contract data. So Deebo Samuel, it's all guaranteed no matter what for this 2024 season. And Mitch Wishnowsky saw $1 million of his base salary guaranteed. Mitch Wishnowsky will certainly be with the 49ers next season, because he turned out to be one of the better punters, one of the best punters in the league this past year. If you look at the field position that the 49ers gained from Mitch Wishnowsky above expectation, it was over a football field's worth, something like 111 yards of added field position from their punter. So that's the rundown for the 49ers. There was also Nick Bosa contractual update as far as what vested in his contract. He now has $20.135 million fully guaranteed and another $10.5 million fully guaranteed in 2025. That happened on April 1st of the 2024 league year. So the big ones, Greenlaw and Brendel, those are big injury vests or fully guaranteed vests, nothing to do with injuries. Those are big vests into guarantees this season. Then you heard that Bosa's 2025 salary has now vested into a guarantee as well. I'll answer a couple 49ers questions here on this afternoon update. Somebody said, thanks, David, for saying that Boyd isn't better for the Niners than Jennings. I think Juwan Jennings is a better receiver than Tyler Boyd, especially for the intents and purposes of what the 49ers are trying to do. Physicality-wise, Juwan Jennings he's a dog. And Juwan Jennings separates. Juwan Jennings he's a player that could stand alone as a number 2 on a lot of other teams, obviously with Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk on the 49ers, plus a bunch of other targets. The 49ers can do even better. How do I feel about running back depth? Well, I like Elijah Mitchell. I like Jordan Mason. I think they got solid depth in that room, but I think they need depth beyond that because Elijah Mitchell is going to be an unrestricted free agent after next season. All right. I don't see any more questions that I want to answer right here. A lot of draft stuff. I'm going to have a longer show in a little bit. I did, go for Baroque, has obviously watched a lot of our videos. I do think the 49ers will go after a running back later in the draft or an undrafted free agency to really fill out that room and the practice squad. But we will talk more about the draft and all those things in the later video today. I just wanted to go through some of the news in a little quicker, easier to digest update for you. We'll be back to talk longer. I do want to go lift some weights right now, though. So we'll talk to you all very soon. Thanks for tuning in. See ya in a bit.